Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapita Sibidi. Now, in our first story, the National Labour Commission is threatening to sue striking laboratory scientists who embarked on a nationwide strike Thursday, prompted by the colleagues at the Confanachi Teaching Hospital. The CAT scientists started the strike over what they say is imposition of 2 medical doctors to superintend their activities, sidelining highly qualified practitioners within their profession. As a result of the strike, pregnant women and other vulnerable patients who have been left stranded in public hospitals across the country. Here in the national capital, frail-looking patients say they had to beg to be attended to. While some with the means opted for private labs, others pleaded with the authorities to speedily resolve the issue so they can be attended to. My colleague Crusade was at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and came through with this report.
The nationwide strike of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists is biting. At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Thursday, scores of patients were stranded as the laboratory scientists joined their colleagues in the Confanachi Teaching Hospital and other health centers in the country to withdraw their services. This action is in protest of the appointment of 2 doctors to head the laboratory unit at the Confanachi Teaching Hospital. The stranded and frustrated patients have a two-edged appeal for government to step in and immediately resolve the problem, and for the lab scientists to soften their stance in the national interest.
This is very disturbing. If someone is sick, she must be attended to. And if you say you're not working, are you saying they should go home and die? So we are pleading. They should attend to us because health issues are very important.
It's a very difficult situation because some people's conditions are very critical and they need to be attended to. Some of us, maybe I can do well to go across the street for my test, but then others are very critical and they need to. So I think if the authority can come in and then talk to them to do, save those people, I think it will be very good. It's a bit worrying, yeah, because if you can see people are very sick and they need this test to move on and nothing is working. We've not been told about any strike too.
Going to other private labs will disturb us because when the tests are conducted here, it is cheaper than in the private laboratories.
Chairman of the Kolebu chapter of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, Francis Kwachi Entry, describes the appointment of the 2 doctors as illegal.
Like it has been stated clearly, those 2 illegal intruders should be taken out. They don't have the license to practice in the lab. We can collaborate with other health professionals within the laboratory space. But if you are not licensed to practice in the lab, it's illegal. You can't do that. Otherwise, people from Mokola should also come and join us so that we work together.
He also insists the blood of any lives that may be lost in the course of the strike will be on the hands of government.
We made it clear that any blood that will go down as a result of this strike will go down on the heads of the management at Confanachi and then possibly the Minister of Health, because they were supposed to have intervened long time ago. As for GMA, they will have a part to play, but it will not be as compared to the management of Confanachi and the Minister of Health.
Away from that, the Member of Parliament for the Techiman South constituency, Martin Ajikua, has kick-started a community water project aimed at construction boreholes across the constituency to help curb the water challenges in the area. The project, which was initiated by the MP prior to his election, has seen about 17 communities been beneficiaries within the first phase of the project. Anas Sabit has the rest of the story.
Access to a portable source of drinking water has over the years been a major challenge for a number of rural communities in the Techiman municipality of the Bono East region. The people either trek several kilometers to river sources within their reach or hire the services of motor tricycles to purchase water at higher costs from neighboring communities, and this, according to the people, is having a toll on their domestic and economic activities. Nana Kwabna Manu is an opinion leader in the Pahonso community, a suburb of Bamri. As a community, access to a potable water source has been our major challenge over the years. The distance we cover in our attempt to get water isn't an easy task, and so we go through a lot to get water. Mami Enchua Elizabeth tells me the people travel to the Chiman several kilometers away in search of water during the dry seasons. During dry seasons, we travel to either Bamri or Tichiman, and we do so by hiring the services of a tricycle. Or married men use their bicycles to carry water for their wives. We have a river here, but it dries up during the dry season. When it gets to such seasons, our children do not go to school at all. The situation isn't any different for residents of Bomini, also a community close to Bamri. Grace Appa tells me the situation affects the education of their wards. We had a borehole that developed a fault at a point, so we were relying on the untreated river source and we were managing with it like that. But it was affecting us all, including the education of our wards. To help solve this age-long challenge facing these rural folks, the Member of Parliament for the Tichiman South constituency, Martin J. Mensah-Kosa, prior to his election as the Member of Parliament for the area, began a community water project in 17 communities across the constituency, with 10 of them being mechanized boreholes. The first phase of this project has been completed with Bahonso, Bomini, Atabuoso, Wuraso, all amongst the first beneficiaries.
Well, there are communities that I visited during the campaign, and trust me, people have to walk miles, about an hour or two, just to get water and come back. And it does not matter which hour of the day. Sometimes dead night, people have to walk distances to go and get water. And so it became necessary, and with every agency, to make sure that we do away with this precarious situation of lack of quality drinking water. And that for me was just an urgent matter. We couldn't drag our feet, we couldn't delay on that. And so I haven't had my common fund yet, but these are commitments that I pledged to do for our people. 17 communities are receiving this water, borehole pipes or borehole in the first phase, and then we'll do a subsequent one.
Mr. J. Mensah-Kosa says he's optimistic that by the end of his first term as a Member of Parliament, the people in every part of the constituency will have access to quality drinking water.
I'm hoping that by the time I do my first 4 years, issues of drinking water or quality drinking water becomes, if I can borrow the word, a thing of the past. At least, if we cannot do anything, it should not be water. Water is life. People get healthy when they have good drinking water. So we want to make sure that of all the problems that we have, having access to quality drinking water is dealt with every agency, so that our people can live healthy, they can have the water to do whatever they have to do with their lives.
Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Urasu.
Now, the European Union Ambassador to Ghana, Diana Consia, has noted that the Union has seen the important role agriculture plays in the lives of the people, especially with respect to poor and vulnerable communities. This explains the reason why the European has given out 145 million to support several initiatives, which included the European Union Ghana Agriculture Program. The aim is to improve the living conditions of the people through farming. Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The fair and conference provide a platform to participants with same views and experience all the challenges and opportunities to enhance the growth of agriculture, to create jobs, across the youth and women. Major stakeholders in the agriculture sector attended the conference and the program due to certain reasons were linked virtually to the program. European Union Ambassador to Ghana, Diana Consia, in a welcome address delivered on her behalf, by Deputy Head of Mission Peter Smith-Banyilda underscored the importance of agriculture in the lives of the people, with particular reference to persons living in the northwestern part of the country.
It reflects also the European Union engagement with the government of Ghana through the ministries to support the sector with no less than 145 million euros through several initiatives, including the EU Agriculture Programme in Ghana, EU GAP, of which Moab is a part. Now, our common objective is to improve the quality of life of the communities. In the end, it's about them, about the farmers and their families, who derive most of their income from agriculture.
GIZ Country Director Regina Borosha Barbosa noted that since the establishment of the market-oriented program in the northwestern part of the country, it has made significant strides, which has impacted on the lives of the people.
Through established linkages with about 20 small and medium enterprises, Moab Northwest and partners have supported the creation of 1,596 jobs equivalent since 2018. This achievement exceeds the entire project target of 2,000 jobs created by almost 60%. More than 8,000 farmers have benefited from input credits for seed, fertilizer, extension and marketing services, from off-takers for the rice, sorghum, soy, groundnut, mango and vegetable value chains. 208 village savings and loans association groups were formed with its members trained, 85% of whom were women or female members.
Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Afriya Akoto, was represented at the conference by the Director of Policy, Planning and Monitoring, Chumaso Richard Kwesi Ankra.
There is no doubt that the agri sector of Ghana needs to be transformed to trigger the socio-economic development of the nation, to achieve the objective of providing lifeline for millions of households in terms of food and jobs. It is important to note that the ambitious targets of the Sustainable Development Goals, the Malabo Declaration on Accelerated Agricultural Growth, the transformation of shared prosperity and improved livelihoods, and other commitments cannot be achieved if we relent on our efforts.
The fair and conference came to an end with 3 separate panel discussions on climate change, women empowerment, and digitization. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Now, the results of a new clinical trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine show that immediate kangaroo mother care, which involves skin-to-skin contact with the mother and exclusive breastfeeding, started as soon as a preterm or low birth weight baby is born, dramatically improves survival. This new study suggests that when compared with the existing practice, starting kangaroo mother care immediately after birth can save up to 150,000 more lives each year. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has been speaking with the Ghanaian collaborators in this study.
The study planned to include 4,200 infants, but was stopped early due to clear evidence of benefit on survival. The School of Public Health, KNUST and the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital were part of this study.
My name is Dr. Ajikua Plancheol. I'm the head of the mother-baby unit at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, and I'm also a lecturer in the School of Medicine and Dentistry. The whole idea of kangaroo mother care came about probably 10-15 years ago. It actually began in a hospital where they didn't have power, and so they decided to put the babies, it was a hospital in South America, and they decided to put the babies close to the mothers, under their, close to the skin to keep them warm. And they suddenly found that, these babies were surviving. The survival was amazing. And so we began to realize that there was something about putting a baby next to his mother's skin which worked some miracle and caused them to live. And it certainly wasn't just about warmth. So, you know, over the years, lots and lots of research has been done, and it's been found that putting babies in skin-to-skin contact with their mothers, the baby is naked and is put against the mother's bare chest, somehow makes them live. And so it became the norm, it became the practice. There was lots and lots of research done, and it became the practice all over the world. That's part of the care of the very small baby, the baby who was born too soon or born too small, was to put him next to his mother's skin. But initially, the recommendation was when the baby is born, wait for a few days. When the baby is 2, 3, 4 days old and he's stable, breathing properly, then you can begin putting him in the mother's skin. And as I said, the results were so dramatic. The babies did so well, they could breathe better, their heart rates were better, they had better temperatures, so many things. So then the question came up. But of course, in the first 3, 4 days, whilst we were waiting for these babies to be stable before we would start putting them in skin-to-skin contact, a lot of them died. And so the big question was, if this skin-to-skin way of keeping babies in skin-to-skin contact works such wonders, what would happen if we started earlier? So essentially this study that has been published today was to answer the question, if this is such a good intervention, if we were to start even earlier, in other words, immediately after birth, the baby comes out and then goes into skin-to-skin and stays there as long as possible, would we have an even better outcome? So essentially, the study that was published today in the New England Journal of Medicine was designed to answer that question.
My name is Professor Sam Newton, and I'm the head of the team which organized the study. And I'm also the acting dean of the School of Public Health. What was interesting about this study is these babies were very tiny, and initially we were wondering whether it would work. It was like a proof of concept to see whether if you put very tiny babies close to their mother's chest soon after birth, whether they would do better than when we wait till they are stabilized. And the results show clearly that they do much better. The bonding is there, and for reasons which are not too clear to us, babies which you would think would not survive actually do better. So it's a good day for us. Now we know that the apprehension which people had about this intervention, seeing that the results have come out in a reputable journal showing that there is much less death or mortality in these children, will be scaled up. And then, of course, it will only be in countries, in developing countries like ours, but also in other developed countries would also take up this intervention, which would really help to save a lot of newborn lives who would otherwise have died.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
And that's how we end the AM News with me, Mapita Sibidi. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. The AM show continues with Mama V and Benjamin. The new weekend Crusade and Guide, well, some of the papers that, if we have time, I will be running through for you.
Okay, I'll be taking a look at the Daily Graphic, the Finder, the Chronicle, the Daily Statesman, and the Custodian newspaper. You know what I was thinking as you said that? Well, you can fake it until you make it to work. Sometimes you wake up and your body is singing a different tune. You don't want to rouse yourself, but you simply have to.
You have to move. We move.
Oh, yeah, we move.
But before, I have a better dedication.
Sure, go ahead.
Have you seen a 5-year Air Marshal before?
Air Marshal at 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, there's a cute 5-year-old who's celebrating his birthday. There you are. That's Air Marshal Michael Komi Seglo Aklobato of New Pathways Academy in Takrady. You're 5 today, sir. Happy birthday. As an Air Marshal, may the good Lord make you a great leader of many squadrons in the service of God and country. It's from Mommy and Daddy, your sisters, Sefia Moore and Ceci Aklobato. And that's his godfather, by the way. That's why he's an Air Marshal. That's Air Marshal Michael Samson OJ, his godfather. So you see, you have to have a great godfather so you can own it.
even at the very beginning of your life. So happy birthday, sweetheart. Enjoy your birthday. And good morning to your dad, Moses. There's also another one, a very good friend of mine. You lost your mother-in-law. The funeral is coming up this weekend. Frank Miracle from Brim constituency, formerly of the local government service. This weekend, you're burying your mother-in-law. The funeral actually begins on the 29th and the 30th of May, just this weekend. So if you know him, please stretch a hand and help. It's happening at the Ashaman Official Town Celestial School, 2 minutes drive from Ashaman Municipal Assembly. Frank Miracle, Demri why?
Okay, let's do this final one by way of those celebrating special days today. Happy birthday to my lovely son, Michael Aram Komla Asempa Kofiche. He is 8 years today. Michael Aram Komla Asempa Kofiche, 8 years today. It's from your dad, Frank HK Asempa Kofiche, who is right here with us, a colleague of ours at work. We wish you the very best, Mikey boy. You know, that brings to mind something. Do you know my birth name, given name, is Michael?
Is it?
Yes.
So you're Benjamin Michael?
At a point, I used to sign Ben Mike. Now, here's the thing. My father was, because he passed, Benjamin Emmanuel Akakpo. I am junior. At a point in time, I was signing Ben Mike Akakpo, hyphenated. And then, you know, over time, because my documents, passports, certificates, and everything were simply Benjamin Akakpo, I had to stick to it. So my given name, in actuality, is Michael.
Sounds yo-yo-ish.
But before we get into the papers, always have to mischief you. I know you travel quite a bit. When you do travel, how do you like it? Do you go first class, business, economy, premium economy? How do you go?
I'm part of the economy class.
Because when I look at the economy, I do economy. My free. But
book early, make friends so they can put you in the front seat. You know what I mean? You can still get room.
Yeah. And maybe we should get enough money so that at some point we can fly.
Honestly,
luxuriously.
Unless somebody was giving me a free ticket, I am not sure. That
But all travel be travel. Once we'll get to the next point, it's okay. But believe you me, I just don't want to mention the names of some airline companies, but some of them are.
But I've sat in business class before, and I thought, oh my God, like, you know, the difference.
Business class is cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. But first class is something else.
I ain't sure my money is going to buy the ticket.
Yeah, go home for now. Well, let's dig into the papers. Yep. I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Caregiver kills baby. That's on page 13. Aww. Sad. Really, 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 really sad for this to happen. And talks about how the police have nabbed a caregiver at a crash in Ghana who vented her anger, her spleen basically, on an 11-month-old baby girl and allegedly killed her while feeding the baby. So this baby supposedly was throwing tantrums and the caregiver simply couldn't take it. But if you can't handle kids, if you can't, why do you? So she's 54. She was arrested after a CCTV camera installed in the room at the Happy Bloomers crash at Agbogba exposed the dastardly act. And now, of course, she's going to face the music. Look, I deal with children at Sunday school, so I know how children, I'm not a parent, but believe you me, they can be quote-unquote pests. You need to have anger management, proper anger management going on. Else, and I don't know whether she really considered what she wanted to do, but that's the sad end. Ghana supports India with 150 oxygen concentrators. Should time allow us, Mama V, I'll come back to this story. Then there's sanitizing small-scale mining. Place 1-year ban. Ochenhene advocates. Some have said, yes, it's the way to go. Others have said, no, that's not the way to go. What do you think? Well, we dig into that story later as we get into the review proper. Republicans unveil $928 billion infrastructure plan. That's what they have been outlining as a proposal yesterday, as a counteroffer to President Joe Biden's more sweeping plan, as the two sides struggle to negotiate a bipartisan compromise and remain far apart on how to pay for the massive spending. Now, there's an interesting bit I was listening to yesterday, I think on the BBC. It talks about how the US is revisiting the theory of a Wuhan lab leak that led to what we now call COVID-19. And China has hit back. They are saying, well, the WHO declared that it wasn't the case. So why are you going back to it? But the US has said the WHO's investigations were not thorough enough. That's actually what they say. It wasn't thorough enough. Then, something we should highlight. 3 CSO's partners launch Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is actually today. And menstrual health must be put on the radar as well. I noticed our very own Debbie Mangote posted about it this morning on Facebook. So that's it for that bit. Wrapping up with the Daily Graphic newspaper. New strategies developed against mosquitoes. Recently, we're talking about the fact that a lot of our insecticides are not working against them. So that's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper.
Let's look at the headlines in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page is President meeting with persons from Volkswagen. It says President Wu's investors vows to protect foreign investment in automobile industry. Patients stranded at medical laboratories as lab scientists laid down tools. This is on our radar this morning. We will go full-blown on this and check out what's happening day 2. Are they still not working? And how is that impacting? Most importantly, and has it stretched the entire country now? Will they listen to the National Labour Commission, who are threatening to either not pay them and also making some recommendations for them to be fired? Are they moved by all of that? That's on the AM show today. But ban illegal mining for 1 year to streamline mining industry. Oh, it's a proposal that has come up from the Ochin. The details of that, page 18. But if you go to page 3, court remands 5 accused. Remember the 5 policemen arrested for allegedly extorting some 38,000 Ghana cedis from 2 drivers.
Yep.
They were yesterday remanded into police custody by an Accra Circuit Court to reappear on June 9. They are all police personnel, so about 3 or 4 constables. There's a Lance Corporal. They pleaded not guilty to robbery. Can you imagine? These are people protecting. Suddenly they've been accused of armed robbery. So this issue is being dealt with. We like this, the fast nature. It's been very speedily. I hope that it will travel like that all through, and they'll build a fantastic case so that if they are indeed guilty, the law would get them. And
that is one problem. Oftentimes, there are people who may be culpable in this way or that. But the process of providing evidence, even the investigative process, even when the police is on board, so we have people get through the system who ordinarily would have been found culpable.
Yeah. There's also an update on the 2 people who were caught. They wanted to steal blood, precious blood that people donate, blood that people have to struggle with to get in order to save their relatives. This happened at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital over the weekend. The update is that the 2 alleged blood thieves have been granted 40,000 Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties each by an Accra magistrate court. Names have been given. They pleaded not guilty before the courts, and they're expected to reappear on July 12, 2021. That's the update there. In the center spread of the paper, big ups to the Church of Pentecost. They are beginning a 1 million tree planting project. They've been amazing with their corporate social responsibility. I like what they're doing, touching proper lives, because really you can't preach and people can't get the message if they're living in places that are not secured. So they're building police stations, they're beefing up prisons, and now they're planting trees. Like, big ups to the Church of Pentecost. I'm a proud Presbyterian, but I love the Church of Pentecost for this cause as well. And then the quick update on the 2021 population and housing census in the center spread of the paper. We're just 30 days away, and the Population and Housing, the Ghana Statistical Service is asking the media to help heighten public awareness on the exercise to make it successful. So I'm doing my duty this morning. It's just 30 days away for that counting to begin. Make sure you're counted. On the back page, Karela Olympics battle today, and then 4 million oil palm seedlings ready for planting on degraded mining sites. That's on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Ben?
Well, when you mentioned Volkswagen, the car, today, it brought to mind a number of things. You know, that company was established in 1937, and it just brought to mind a bit of history because when it was established as Volkswagen Werk, it was called the People's Car Company. So Volkswagen actually means the people's car.
Okay.
Ordinary folks' car. And it's also interesting because the Germans don't pronounce, they pronounce their V as F and their W as V.
Okay, but we're pronouncing it the English way.
Exactly.
Just like we would do to Paris.
Exactly. Let's check out the Finder newspaper now. And TOR to commission new furnace by fourth quarter. You know, when we did that story about TOR needing, is it $400 million or so yesterday? People were asking, when I posted, the headline, people were asking, it's the big Ghana TOR ending.
See? It's been like that forever.
So TOR is to commission a new furnace by the fourth quarter of the year. Paperless port system was critical during COVID-19. That's according to the GPHA. Let me take a quick look at the TOR story, actually. It says, TOR is to commission a new furnace by the fourth quarter of this year to increase the refinery's processing capacity. Contractors are currently working on the site to ensure the completion of the furnace and get it ready for commissioning. And
you think I'm hopeful?
Oh, you should be.
Massa.
But I think change has to come at some point. Whether you're thinking BOST, whether you're thinking TOR, I think change has to come at some point with some leadership, regardless of which political party is in power. I think it's just that we know the solutions. It's just that we play too many political gimmicks, and there's so much corruption in the system. I think that is the problem. We can get it right. Why shouldn't we get it right?
So here's my little advice. I don't know if it would count. Just go quiet. Do your transformation. Let us begin to feel the results. But if you give us, people will just be ridiculing you because really, you're always in debt.
And we're always futuristic, like I usually say. We shall. It's never we have done. It's always we shall.
Hide yourself and come back. And they say, oh, TOR. Oh, we haven't heard from them. Oh, so this is what they were doing. Oh, and they're turning things around. You see, that's when you know that you're achieving something.
Youth ingenuity gets government marketing support. Picture there, Kojopon Nkrumah, to promote businesses, successes, and social causes of young people. But let's look at this one. Africa urgently needs 20 million second doses of COVID-19 vaccine. That's on page 9. And the story says, so Africa needs at least 20 million doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in the next 6 weeks. That is when? We're in the last week of the month of May. So let's say June. So that's by the first week in July. To all who receive the first dose within the 8 to 12-week interval between doses recommended by the WHO. A single dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine gives around 70% protection for at least 12 weeks. Data on the protection from one dose after 12 weeks is limited. But basically, the bottom line is that in addition to this urgent need, another 200 million doses of any WHO emergency use listed COVID-19 vaccine are needed so that the continent can vaccinate 10% of its population by September 2021. Failing which, well, it wouldn't be a very pleasant situation. We hope things pan out well. NAFCO calls on SHS to revive gardening to maximize food production. You know, in the time of Echampong, thanks to the likes of Dr. Asibi Abudu, many people had backyard farms, gardens where they were planting yam and all sorts of things, kuntumri. Cassava and, of course, all those other things, but I don't know. Second Lady empowers young women with employable skills in fashion. That's also on page 6 of the paper. And that's it for The Finder. This is all they have found.
Let's do the weekend, the new weekend Crusade guide. There's a story that I've been looking at on page 4. It's not on the front page. I mean, it's one of those stories that is really not a Ghanaian business. It's just Akon, who was in the process of filling up his Range Rover, and then the car was stolen. Just
Say
like
what?
that. Yeah.
He was what? At a fuel station,
filling up, but the engine was running.
Oh,
so,
that thing.
He got out to go and fill in, and then somebody just sat in the car and moved the car.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So he called the police, and he says that he had, valuables, including a $25,000 diamond necklace. There was a Louis Vuitton bag and his iPhone, all gone, like in a flash. This happened in Atlanta.
Oh, so he was back in the States.
Yeah, this happened in Atlanta.
I guess they identified him. They knew that. But that's something else. A safety, something to take stock of. When you're filling up, actually, your engine should be off. Yeah, it's something we all struggle to deal with. But I'm not even taking it so much from the standpoint of someone sitting in your car and taking. But even if you are sitting in the car, your engine should be off, because it's dangerous to have your car being filled and your engine on.
Yeah.
I guess if you had taken that simple precautionary measure, maybe this wouldn't have.
Well.
Maybe. Maybe.
Oh, but hey, this is the Ghanaian business. What matters to us in Ghana, I guess, is what's on the front page. There's an issue, land grab in East Legon. Ex-soldier accuses Errata boss of forcibly taking his land of 38 years. But Eddie Kusiankoma says he bought it from Toboase family. So it's one of those familiar land issues. Bedieto rubbishes claim he sold National Center for Culture. Information Ministry unveils social marketing project dubbed Amplified. There are some other stories in the paper. There's a Nungwa stool issuing a warning, encroaches on Oibi lands. Hey, Charlie, Accra lands there. Oh, wow. All right, that's it for the paper.
It's me, ton, Accra lands. Don't go there. But there's a funny bit about Akon. It was a video that was making the rounds many years ago. So it was a prank, basically. But some Asians, said they were contracting him to do some stuff, big money move. So Akon is with them, and they keep talking about him, and they keep going, Akon. And he has to tell them, no, my name is Akon. And they kept going, Akon, insisting it was Akon. And then he burst out. It was like, how you gonna tell me how to pronounce my own name? And that was just the funny part, because the look on his face, it's later that he realized, it was all a prank. It wasn't real. They were intentionally doing that just to get him. The Chronicle newspaper, CID denies investigating national security. Would you believe it? That's on page 14. And it says, unlike some countries where security personnel act swiftly at the mention of crime to ascertain its validity, the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service is rather refuting claims of initiating any investigation into wrongdoings by the national security. And it would be recalled that this paper in its Wednesday, May 26, 2021 edition carried a story that a team of crack detectives drawn from the HQ of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service had been dispatched to Asankragwai in the Western region to conduct forensic investigations into the reported raid of a hotel by persons identified to have come from the National Security Secretariat in Accra. Apparently, that is not the case in Tino. It is what it is. Then there's this one, KMA boss in hot waters, party juggernauts scramble for his post. And it's been interesting, as I've heard of some of the names that have come up in recent times, who are gunning for that position. Time will tell. China can't threaten Ghana's cocoa production. And that story, too, is actually on page 14. The CEO of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Aidu. And this thing, really, I've spoken about it in the past. I don't want to go back there, but only time will tell. And hopefully we can retain our spot when it comes to cocoa production. Then there's who wins the Champions League tomorrow? Well, should I tell you in advance? Should I spoil it for you? Should I tell them?
Go ahead.
You want to put me in that?
Are you, I don't know, should you tell, how this is going to go down?
I don't see how. Well, there's always possibility. But anyway, let me put it this way. I'm gunning for the blue end of Manchester. I may have lost with the red end of Manchester, but I'm gunning for the blue end of Manchester to thrash those people. If those people win, then we are dead.
It's just an issue of your enemy's enemy is your friend.
Exactly. But by the way, talking sports, Real Madrid says players say goodbye to Zidane after he quits second time. So that's another one there. That's it for the Chronicle.
Let's go through the Daily Guide newspaper on the front page. This story is also here, the 5 robbers, and you would always see robber in quotes because it's not been proven yet, but they are policemen really, and now they're standing. Hey, can you imagine? It sounds some way, policemen being tried for robbery.
Yeah, they'll be in the dock.
There's also another update on NAM1. That story is on page 3, maybe a bit of that. It says the trial of Chief Executive Officer of Defunct Men's Gold Ghana Limited, Nana Appiah Mensah, popularly known as NAM1, has taken another long adjournment to July 6, 2021, after the prosecution was unable to file the necessary processes as ordered by the trial court. So Her Honor Evelyn Asamoah had ordered the prosecution to file their processes before yesterday's sit-in, but appearing before the courts, prosecutor ASP Sylvester Sari stated that they were unable to file the processes as ordered by the court, but said it was not a deliberate attempt to delay the trial. Let me see what the judge said, because usually they are not happy when, they keep delaying. People who don't understand sometimes will think it's the fault of the courts, but usually, see, in this case, is the prosecutor. Let's see. After listening to both sides, trying to get some flesh. So there's a good background to the story that we're all familiar with, but this is the excuse. The records will show that at the last sit-in, we indicated and pleaded with the court as it is in the interest of justice. This morning, we're again in bended knees, although standing. We ask that you give us the necessary ear. And then he said, we will ensure that we follow the necessary processes. We pray that in the interest of justice, my lady grants an adjournment to enable parties put their house in order. So that's where we are. So the judge, after listening to both sides, were told they'll maintain the sum of 1 billion Ghana cedis, remove the condition of 3 of the 5 sureties to be justified. This is just the background, of the story in terms of how they were granted bail.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. The center spread. Apietus bemoans how people who insult are becoming celebrities.
Please mention his name again.
Apietus.
In the mix.
He's a producer. We popularly know him as Apietus. He's worried about how people who assassinate others' character, through insults, are fast becoming celebs. And according to him, it's not a good example for the younger generation who are watching. He made a post on Instagram and he questioned why people can't make public statements without disrespecting the next person over whatever reasons they have. The rest of it is there. And then, Akon's Range Rover found. Okay, so I got an update in the Daily Guide.
Oh, so here it's been found.
It's been found.
But did they find, can we find out whether they found the necklace and all of that?
Let's see.
It doesn't say.
Fortunately, Akon's phone was still in his SUV and he was able to track it. Okay, no, they didn't tell me.
So is the phone they used to track it?
Exactly.
But how about, is it $25,000?
No, they didn't say. Piece? They didn't say. It's not in the story, at least. It just tells, how they managed to track the vehicle and,
Ayo.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, so let's check out this one. And I know this is one you'll be interested in. $55 million Law Village project begins. And the president on Wednesday, Carter, sought to signal the beginning of the Law Village projects of the Ghana Law School, expressing the hope that the project would expand access to legal education in the country. He acknowledges the fact that the project is long overdue. He says it's tied to the 2020 manifesto of the party to expand infrastructure to increase access to professional legal education. And I'm quoting him here, "I've been reliably informed that some 1,000 students were admitted during the 2020-2021 academic year, a development which led to the acting director opting for a triple-track system. But the entire Law Village project will cost some $55 million. The first phase of the project is to complement the facilities of the Accra main campus located at Makola, and that is being carried out at a cost of some $4 million. It's set to add a seating capacity of 1,500, a number of lecture halls, a well-resourced library, and more." That's the story I'll focus on in the Daily Statesman. It's also futuristic, but let's see what comes out of it. Aren't you excited?
No, please. When you said 55, I thought you were going to talk about money that was coming into my pocket.
Of course, we must also check whether we are getting value for money in terms of the $55 million we are sinking into this project.
Well, quickly to the Business and Financial Times newspaper front page, why banks find it difficult to give loans if you've been chasing a loan for a while and you're not getting it. Well, FNB Bank CEO is giving some explanation. Stay neutral and the after not possible. AGI to businesses touts aggregation to give local SMEs the urge, stresses the need for quality to access markets. Only 10% of oil and gas businesses are insured locally, and TOR on course to shake off its shackles by Q4. I like that. Okay, so you can.
I like the way this one puts it.
Business and Financial Times, yeah. There's a headline quickly on the front page of the Weekend today. It says, Karachi East celebrate flat tummies. It's simply because they didn't record as many teenage pregnancy cases. That's what the celebration is about. Yeah.
And that's a big deal. It's a big deal if you're looking at the numbers we've been looking at concerning teenage pregnancy. Right before we go to myjoyonline.com, let me just let you know what's trending on Twitter. At number 10, we have the Milwaukee Bucks, and Giannis Antetokounmpo has been doing his magic. They're actually up against the Miami Heat by 3-0. The Phoenix Suns are also trending at number 8. The Lakers beat them, and that is why at number 5 we have Lake Show. At number 4 we have LeBron James, King James, and at number 3 we have the Lakers. But at number 7, interestingly, the hashtag Kate does not do galamsey is trending. You know the Kate I speak of? Jim Fua, extra gold.
How does Twitter solve the problem? President says go to court.
Ah, well, but she's trending here. Kate does not do galamsey.
All right, I like.
Take go court.
I like the trend though.
I'm gonna say take go court. Let's check out my Joy Online.
Yes, but I've got a birthday dedication. You're 11 years old today. Sam Emmanuel Bosomche Bequing of AGA School, Obuase Class 6C. It's your birthday today. It's from Mom and Dad. And all your friends wishing you a happy birthday. Sam Emmanuel Bosomche Bequing of AGA School, Obuase Class 6C. Happy birthday. Let's do myjoyonline.com. Ekufuado spent £345,000 on travel from May 16 to 25, according to Okujeto Ablakwa. So this is a discovery, if you like, but we're yet to hear from the presidency in terms of how true the allegations are. 401 soldiers deployed for 4th phase of Operation Halt 2. Occupy Ghana statement on government's ban on site punishment for illegal mining. The full text is on myjoyonline.com. 35-year-old man in police custody for allegedly killing 50-year-old woman who refused to marry him. Ebeyo. Oh. 3 MPP executives arraigned over alleged assaults, and then the lab scientists strike pregnant women in Tamale Teaching Hospital, the brands. World Bank IMF slammed for using wrong indicator to assess Ghana's fiscal economy. And then Derek Boateng, this one is still in the trends. Derek Boateng, 34 others arrested for violating road traffic regulations.
Former Black Stars player.
Yeah, man. All right, so you can get onto myjoyonline.com. If you find a story of interest, you can read it in details. I just want to wish my friends at the Chartered Institute of Accountants, Ghana. They've been in a celebrative mood all week, and it's crowning this weekend in Kumasi. It's their conference, their annual conference. They've got a dinner coming up this weekend. I wish them well, particularly the CEO, Mr. Paul Kwesi Ajimang. I wish you well with your conference this weekend. Yeah.
Well, that's how we wrap up the news review. It's time now for some sports. Do stay. We'll be back.
If you ever thought national team coaches will come begging you to play for the Black Stars, think again, because CK Akono says his pool of 40 players that he's currently got, he doesn't intend to go beyond that. And the UEFA Champions League will be happening tomorrow. Joy Sports is building up to that. We have a preview of the match, and there's a conversation from Chelsea's midfielder, Mateo Kovacic, who insists that despite Manchester City being favourites, they've also got quality to win the Champions League. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola is wary of the threat Chelsea will pose to his side, having lost twice to them already earlier in the season. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, and this is AM Sports on AM Show. Let's start with Black Stars coach CK Akono saying that he wants to build a dynasty that will be the envy of many. Thus, he has decided not to force or beg players to play for the senior national team. Speaking to the press ahead of the country's friendly matches against Morocco and Ivory Coast, Akono said Ghana will be ready to welcome Mohamed Salisu, who says he's unavailable to play for the Black Stars, but when he's ready, he'll be back. Akono says that they will be willing to welcome Mohamed Salisu to the team, but for now, he's content with the quality of players available to him as he intends to build a stability and create a playing identity for the national team. The Black Stars will play the Atlas Lions of Morocco in Rabat on June 8 before hosting Côte d'Ivoire at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium on June 12. Head coach of the team, CK Akono, wants to use the two friendly matches to assess the strength and weaknesses of his team ahead of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers and also build a formidable team for the 2022 African Cup of Nations. He says he has a pool of 40 players and he does not intend to tweak the team much so that he could create some sort of stability within the playing body.
In my last discussion, I made it clear that we now have to move on from where we are to a situation where we'll find the way we play, our philosophy, the style of play in order, and therefore it's meant that we keep the squad we have so that we can, get on with what we're doing and so that it will be appropriate. Anyway, I think you also want to see us play a very good football, and it will not just come as easy as one can think. And so, yes, Alfred is doing well, but because of what we have here, what we have on board now, we want to focus whilst we look at him and see how best we can do to bring him to help us here.
Recently, Mohamed Salisu of Southampton, who has turned down opportunities of playing for the senior national team, said he doesn't feel he's ready to play for the Black Stars. Akono, in response to that comment, said he's not perturbed about the unavailability of one of Ghana's best talents in Europe.
We've watched quite for some time now. We understand he's doing well, but his area of position, we have a lot of players there which we are very, very satisfied, and that what he said that he will come when I think when he's ready, and so I think we don't have much of a problem in that position, and so we'll look at him when he's ready. He will let us know.
The two friendly matches have been played to fill a void created by FIFA and CAF for their decision to postpone the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which were slated for the 1st and 2nd week of June. You have seen our build-up to the Champions League final, where a judge ordered 2 lawyers to ensure that the best commentary team puts out the best of delivery when the Champions League final between Manchester City and Chelsea kicks off tomorrow. We'll be wrapping that up with a quiz on Joy Prime later tonight. Enjoy this.
All right, guys, thank you very much for staying with us. We got to deal with who wins or takes home that wonderful prize for being the most exciting commentator. It's been a good journey, guys. Obi, congratulations to be here on the stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
General?
Yeah, thank you. The Bible says, whatever your hand finds,
hold it tight.
Yeah.
Is that what the Bible says?
I mean, the annex of
the translation, NIV or King James.
This one is King James.
We are going straight to a commentary clip, and we'll see what the two of them can do. Who's going first?
I'm going first. He was going first.
Okay, so we're going to the famous Manchester United win in 1999 when they made.
Yo, George Masom, Abrantia, Awusha, Obiara, Awufia, Awusha. One George
takes over. Manchester United, Bayern Munich.
Manchester United, the Bayern, Manchester for the money Accra Conference Center Hall. Minion Tatia. Manchester United and the Bayern Munich and the only other Shemo and the Quacus of Hemia, Fabrication Sasunianco. Minion Tatia. Tell you how we can see the way of Butupunaka comes at the Catalan. Mekan the Catalan, what does it say? Long. The Catalan. Now we can join 99.7. What does it say? Muda Hoyepa. Abukasia Nikoyepa. Etiefwania Chefo. Abrantia Oligana Soche. And come with Nako Reverse Samana Kabani Dapa. Now you Akazi, what you born? Oligana. No, Papa, I didn't have a sweet. Abrantia, I didn't have a sweet. I'll say for the Kojan anymore. Kojan is not attacking. 90 plus 3 minutes and Alaguna Socia. Isn't your friend Shano? Yes. Or Shago. Because on your born, okay, the Chibaku, and I call it Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia. What could I have someone I'll for Kojanima? I didn't about him. Someone for a very tactical player. Very tactical. To be only forward, Mama, yes. And this goal is a classic goal. Very for 90 plus 3 minutes, I don't see the way Bayern will come back. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'm for the Catalan JoyNews Queen. Bayern Munich in IAD, Kwaku. Mekaza the Catalan, what is to say? Long. Mekadika was the Calon.
I think at this point, you share the prize because I thought we were going head to head. It was a partnership. But thank you guys. You've made this an interesting one.
I'm on Joy Prime. You will enjoy more of the commentary and the answers to the various questions that were posed to them. Interestingly, even some Manchester United fans could not even tell the number of times they've won the Champions League. I am Muftar Nabila Ablai, and this has been AM Sports on AM Show. Head on to myjoyonline.com. We've got more sports stories there to share with you. There's a preview of the Champions League final between Manchester City and Chelsea. We've also got other stories that has to do with Isaku Fatau's move to Bayer Leverkusen, reportedly been off. That was from the German media yesterday. And Ramadan Cup 2021 winners, you might have heard so many stories about Kasua, but they say that the triumph of that team has brought honor to Kasua. Thanks very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the show and the rest of the programs on this channel.
Statement that was issued yesterday by the Upper branch of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. Members were directed to wear red armbands and also kept these bands on the entrances and also the doors of the various facilities.
Gamel Emmanuel Ajuraku is the Upper Surgeon Chair of the association.
When you come to the lab, there is not going to be any service rendered. And in fact, you not even see us at the work site, but we are not going to come here. All our doors will be closed. So we are not going to render any laboratory service. Blood bank service will not be there. Emergency service will not be there. Even reports that we write, we will not submit any reports to any this weather deems or whatever. We will not even write any report.
Many of the patients who came to the hospital and were directed to come to the lab came with their samples, but unfortunately, they were turned away.
With a 13-month-old baby strapped at her back, 30-year-old mother of two, Susolo Safura, hails from Bobale in the Sisala East municipality and came to the One Municipal Hospital for treatment. She was then directed by a medical doctor to go to the hospital's laboratory for tests, which she did, but was turned away as a result of the strike. Where are you going now?
I'm going to the house.
You're going to the house. Are you not going to see the lab test at any other facility?
Once they said they are on strike, I know wherever I go, they'll say they are on strike.
But what about private facilities? They should be working.
I don't have money to go.
Another who bears the brand of the indefinite strike is 32-year-old Abdullahi Tijani, whose wife delivered through cesarean section. The wife felt unwell after the cesarean operation, and they gave him the blood samples to come to the laboratory for testing. Manager of the One Municipal Hospital Laboratory, Teresa Salifu, explained why the clients have been taken away.
We are not happy because the clients, some of them are our relatives, and our motto is service to humanity. We would love to serve, but we would not love to serve under any oppression. And that is, we need to work with rules and regulations. And according to Act 857, the lab is capable of managing itself. You need a license to practice as a medical lab scientist. And we have gone through the training, we've gone through the licensure, and we are working here. Anybody that does not have the license to practice as a lab person should not be in the lab. That is our only position. And we should be given the opportunity to head whatever institution that we are working with.
The situation at the Upper West Regional Hospital Laboratory was not different, as it looks more like a ghost laboratory. Only a couple of the laboratory scientists were spotted by our cameras posting notices on the doors, whilst over 24 seats at the waiting area remain empty. The situation at private laboratories in the one municipality is quite different. For them, it's business as usual. Most of the patients who went to the one municipal hospital laboratory and were unattended to found their way at private laboratories. One of them is Bill Medical Laboratory, who seem to be enjoying from the windfall. Dr. Nafisa Siddiqui is one of the lab scientists here.
So we are making business. Once the government sector is on strike, all clients, I'm sure, will be directed to the private sector to run tests.
So you are making it, there's a windfall?
Yes.
The full name?
Even though we are not happy about it, but we need something from them. And that is about the leadership. We can equally head our laboratories. Dr. Isaac Dere first went to the municipal hospital laboratory with samples of blood for testing, but had the door shut on him. He however found solace at the Bill's laboratory.
I have a car and I drive, so I'm wondering, those who are incapacitated, those who are disabled, and they also asked to move to a private lab to do tests, or those who don't even have the financial ability to do that, what happens? You see that we are further pushing them into a position that a very disadvantaged position.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
So Rafiq Salam will be joining us with the very latest as this action enters day 2. Isaac Nonya is our Savannah region correspondent. He also give us an update. We'll be joined by Labour dispute resolution expert and consultant, CEO of GAME and GAME Group, Austin Game, as well as the Medical Association, the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists spokesperson, Dr. Dennis Jesse. But let's go to Isaac Nonya. Isaac, tell us where you are. What can you report on day 2? Hello, Isaac. Isaac, kindly unmute, okay, so we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Isaac.
Hello.
Isaac, what can you report this morning? Where are you, first of all?
Can you hear me?
Isaac, I can hear you. Tell me where you are. What's the situation?
I'm right here at the West Gonja Municipal Hospital. And I must say, the facility here is under the check, and the situation here is different because the facilities applying a human face, only that they've just tying red bands within the premises, but I can say they're working. The source that spoke to me told me that they are adopted a wait-and-see attitude, and for that matter, being a human institution and the only facility within the municipality, they need to do that to save lives. Also, I spoke with the medical superintendent of the facility, one Dr. Vital Lisandari. He said, yes, it's true. The people are working just at that time. And I could see that somebody was tidying the environment, and then offices were opened when I arrived here some few minutes ago. So West Gonja Municipality lab scientists are working. They are not on strike, and people are coming patronizing their services.
Okay, well, that's good news. Isaac Nonya reporting from the West Gonja Municipality. Let's go to Rafiq Salam. We had his reports yesterday, but what's the situation today? Rafiq, good morning. Is it same as yesterday?
Good morning, Mababe. It's still same. You can see I'm standing just in front of the Wa Municipal Hospital Laboratory, and you can see that the door is closed with a red band tied to the door handles. And so there's nothing happening at the Wa Municipal Hospital Laboratory. The people or the workers, the laboratory scientists are not here. You can't see anybody here. It's just like a ghost town. Nobody's here. Even in front here, it's even untidy. It's like the place has not even been swept up for this. So it's like nobody's here.
Are patients showing up though?
I haven't seen any patient around because the door is completely shut. It's completely locked, and then the situation is also same at the Upper West Regional Hospital. So the workers are not opposed. They have locked the laboratory.
Rafiq, thank you very much. Rafiq Salam is our colleague reporting from Wa. That's the Wa Municipal Hospital. The laboratories where he is reporting from this morning. Situation is not different from what he reported on yesterday. The workers are simply not working. Dr. Dennis Jesse, SPRO for the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. He explained why they're taking this action this week, and he's joining us back, particularly because there's been some development. So good morning to you, if you can hear me, Dr. Jesse.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, great. Thank you for joining me on this conversation. Mr. Game, if you can hear me, good morning.
Good morning, my friend, Amavi.
Yes, sir. Thanks for joining. I know that you've been monitoring the situation, but let me start with Dr. Dennis Jesse. Your strike has taken on another level because your colleagues from the other regions, some of the other regions, in solidarity with what's happening at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, they've joined. But the National Labour Commission has had some words to say about this action. First of all, have they served you with some document asking you to appear before them?
Thank you very much. For now, it's just communication that we have picked in the media space and some publications, but it's quite unfortunate we have not received any communication from the Labour Commission officially.
And you haven't had phone calls from either the Ministry of Health or the National Labour Commission or the Ministry of Labour?
The Ministry of Health actually, earlier on when Komfanochi Teaching Hospital had embarked on the sit-down strike, had given indication we should go and bring proposals and come and sit on the matter. And I think they had given a 3-week window period for us to look into it. And we have done that. They gave us up to yesterday to submit a proposal. That has gone, as far as I'm concerned. So what we actually added is that because of the way and manner the various regional executive committees and the heads of the chapters are furious with the matter and not ready to even listen to the leadership, we were pleading with the ministry if the matter could be looked at and brought earlier rather than hoping to see the end of it in 3 weeks space. We think that it is just too long a time, that if it could be done earlier, it will help all of us.
So at the moment, where are the places that your colleagues are not working?
As per monitoring, so far it was Western region that had not started their action as of yesterday. And they had given indication that they might equally be doing the same from today onwards.
So help us understand though, were you already in conversations with the National Labour Commission?
The National Labour Commission, this particular issue, whatever is fundamental to this problem we are seeing, is with the Labour Commission. In fact, if you remember the National Health Laboratory policy that we had to embark on a strike action in 2016. And fast forward somewhere 2018, is sitting with the Labour Commission when we had to go into arbitration, when we had to go and sit down and discuss the matter. Even along the line, we had to get an IETS committee to come and look into the impasse. What is the problem? The problem is fundamentally doctors seeking to supervise laboratory scientists. And we say that that's not going to happen because laboratory scientists have come of age. They are equally competent. They have the expertise, masters to degree, PhD, and even consultants. Why do we need to duplicate a specialist medic to go to the college and come and supervise them? So that has been the bone of contention. And that is why the policy since 2013 has not been implemented. So for that reason, we are having this problem, and it's with the Labour Commission. We have gone there. For me personally, I have joined the team on 2 occasions at the Labour Commission when we have not been able to get finality to the situation. So for me, it was a simple call that the ministry and at the Labour Commission could have helped resolve this matter. And it's quite unfortunate that along the line, as we are still discussing, not knowing when the matter is going to be resolved at the Labour Commission, Governor springs up with this particular appointment, which no other discussion is helping us to move forward. So it's with the Labour Commission. And that is why it's at times difficult for you to get some of these calls again and have the belief that you are going there and likely to get a better resolution. Anything different from what you have seen before.
Okay, let me bring in Labour Dispute Resolution expert and consultant, Mr. Austin Game. Mr. Game, this has been brewing really, and because it's a crucial area of health, I mean, our understanding really is that persons in this kind of profession should not even be striking in the first place. But they did announce it. We knew it was going to come to this point if nobody intervened. And is it proper to say that authorities just sat there, watch for it to get to this point?
Thank you, Mamavi. You know, we, as a nation, we perhaps have not fully learned our lessons. Knowing that we could have situations like this in the future. When the labor law was being written, it was agreed that a matter affecting people who are considered to be working in a place like this has to be attended to within 72 hours when they report a matter of concern to them. Unfortunately, I do know not only the lab scientists, many other organizations where they work under such situations, when their matter crop up, it does appear people are a bit lackadaisical about getting the matter resolved. They will wait till there is pressure. Fortunately for us, this matter, though, it might be serious, it's not a very fatal thing. It's not about money. It's not about creating so much problem. It's a structural problem they have. And this structural problem can be resolved, structural, of course, and relationship. That generally is the concern they have. It has to be attended to immediately. And I guess that today, though today even is too late, people should sit around within 12 hours. They should be able to resolve this matter. Once they get seated, I believe that people will go back to work, and then they can continue and resolve it as quickly as possible.
My understanding is that the positions are a bit entrenched because the laboratory scientists say until these 2 persons who have been appointed at Komfo are removed, they're not going to give up this fight.
It might seem so, but as soon as you get seated around a table, especially if the Labour Commission would put on the hat of an impartiality and ensure that they engage the people and discuss it in the form of a real labor relationship matter and not a master-servant issue, I believe they will listen, because they have said that they've been told to wait till 3 weeks. That is quite problematic. That's not what, practically, that's not what the law expects people who are supposed to handle it to do. They have to do it dispassionately. Within 72 hours, this matter should be resolved. And there are expertise in the country, I believe, among the top echelon there. And we are about at least some 14 million elderly people in this country who can sit around and have this matter resolved. Why should we wait? And watching the pictures on your screen, I got a little bit frightened about the villages where if this thing is happening, people could lose their lives.
You know, this thing happened from the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, and the hospital administration had explained that it was a board decision to appoint the two. And so without a proper board in place, they can't rescind that decision. Would the issue before the Labour Commission resolve what is playing out also at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital?
The Labour Commission has several ways of handling matters of this nature. They have powers also to give orders that are dovetailed into the labour law and best practices. I think that if this thing started, I heard the person you interviewed said, since 2013. So it's not about today, but anything of yesterday that cannot be handled quickly today, referencing yesterday is of no consequence. What we need to do is to handle this matter today and stop referencing what happened yesterday. They can order that the two gentlemen should not necessarily step aside. They are doctors. They can work elsewhere within the health fraternity, so that people will be saved, lives will be saved before we start running, helter-skelter. So I think that the long and short of it is that if there is no board, we have government, we have ministry, we have authorities, we have powers in place. In fact, Parliament is there. The president is vested with enormous powers. Anything can be done.
Before I come to you, Dr. Jesse, let me go to Wale. My colleague Eliasu Tanko is standing by to give us a live report. Eliasu, where exactly are you and what's the situation?
Well, I'm currently at the lab department, and as you can see where I'm currently standing, this is one of the office of the department, and this is the black bank department, and as you can see, this is a red banner. It has been locked and tied with a red banner, and I can show you once again, this is the department proper, and this is supposed to be a waiting area, but because of lack of infrastructure, this particular waiting area has also been converted. And understand this is a sample collection point, and as you can see, we have red banners also tied to this particular facility. And behind me, on my left, is also the office where the test, we understand, is done. And as you can see, this is also a red band that has been tied to the door. My understanding is that this door is faulty and is supposed to be locked. So they are waiting for this particular door to be fixed so that it can be locked proper. I have been here, I have met some people, especially pregnant women. I have seen about 3-4 of them currently here to get a laboratory service. I met one gentleman who said he brought his wife here, and they are coming all the way from a community called Zanguvuga, which is some kilometers away from the municipal capital itself. He has to travel on a very bad route to reach here. Unfortunately, he's been asked to go back because officials here are not working. Several of them, as I talk to you, several of them keep coming in, most of them pregnant women, and they are here for this particular test. But as I speak to you, officials have not even come to work. I have not seen any official or any worker here to attend to these particular people. And so I can tell you that the strike is in full force here in the Wale Wale Municipal Hospital.
So, Eliasu, when you go to the bigger cities, there are private medical laboratories that patients turn to use as an option. How is it like at Wale Wale?
Well, they are not bigger cities. This is the only referral point aside from the hospital in Nalerigu, which is partly private owned. But this is a government facility, and it's only the major referral point in the northeast region here. And so they are not bigger cities where we have laboratory tests in those areas, except this particular facility. And as I just told you, the situation is very, very critical because there are no workers here to attend to the patients who keep coming.
Eliasu, thank you for the updates this morning. Eliasu Tanko reporting from Wale Wale Hospital. Dr. Dennis Jesse, you know, we can sit here in Accra, sit in Kumasi and Takrade, and patients would have options to use private laboratory services. But in places such as Wale Wale, they don't have the luxury. Why would your men in such places embark on an action like that when you know that lives will be at stake? These are patients who have traveled from very far places. They've been referred to this facility and they can have their lab test done.
My dear, it's quite unfortunate. And I don't know, for all this while, if ideas as brilliant as Mr. Austin Game had actually put across when he was making the submission had been heeded. I'm not sure they might have even contacted him throughout these discussions and along the lines. And at times you have the cause to feel that because you are dealing with superpowers, you are dealing with medical doctors, you are dealing with consultants of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, and people wouldn't want to call a spade a spade. The fact of the matter is that people are holding on to the profession. The profession has suffered way back 1973. It took up to 2013 before we could get a regulation. We have all seen the unseen hands controlling and suppressing the lab never growing. And people are still dazed with the fact that the lab scientist of today is having the degree, the master's, the PhD, also a consultant of the West African Postgraduate College of Medical Lab Science. UDS is now training Doctor of Medical Lab Science products. And even still, people are dazed by it and still think we are the technicians of age, lab technicians. So they think that we need to be supervised. So if you have that agenda, that concept, that thing you are working towards, and you bring two of such people to initiate the process, we should be daft and sit aloof. That is the problem. So as a matter of urgency, if that thing is seen as Mama B we are talking about here, why can't we call Konfanochi to withdraw that appointment which is causing the problem? These people were not initially brought to the lab department. They were at the blood bank before they went to school, came back to oncology, went to internal medicine, and in a space of time, split of a second, you reassign them to the lab. What necessitated that? Fast forward, you bring a checklist to do accreditation in Konfanochi because that is to certify a recommendation, which in 2012 had said that remove the person who is in charge of that place because that person is not a medic. Put a medic there. Now you bring two people who are medics in that space, and you think that we should be ignorant of what is being worked on for these people to come and manage and supervise us and validate our results. That is the problem, because our leaders cannot speak the truth to who the medical doctor is, to the deeds of the medical doctors. You saw the release by the GMA. The employer has the right to appoint and assign. So wherever we want to put the people, irrespective of what the law says, what the guidelines says, what the policies are, the employer has the right. A minister is the one to call the shots because his subordinate, who is now the CEO, is what has caused the problem. Why can't we call them to order?
Mr. Game, I don't know if you sense the bitterness and anger. It almost sounds like a clash of professions. one part thinking that the other feels a lot more superior than them. Do you get that sense? Because I've been talking to them for a while now, and that's the impression that I'm getting.
Yeah, thank you. Since yesterday, your sister stations and so forth who called me, I said this is purely nothing but structural and relationship concern that they have. It can be addressed. These things are all over. It's not only in the medical system. You have it in the banks. You have it in various other places, and it has been addressed. Some are being addressed to the best of my knowledge. I know some which are being addressed now elsewhere. Structural problems can be very devastating than money. And so I think that I want to plead once again that we should stop this business of prerogative of authorities. Relationship matters. That's why you have plenty divorces around, because people feel I am the one who is in charge. I can do whatever I like. It's not about do what you like. It's about relationship. So here we are now. Some people are suffering. People may even die. But the people who might be responsible for it are somewhere, maybe eating some banku and tilapia now. So I want to honestly plead that they should sit around a table now and take simple, minutes and come to conclusion. I'm not forcing it on them, that for now, for the sake of lives, let the people be transferred to another department. Let them not appoint any scientists for now. Then they can go into the matter within some hours. They should be able to resolve it. I think it should be handled expeditiously because it's about life and death.
Dr. Jesse, apologies there. Dr. Jesse, yesterday on News Nights on Joy FM, the National Labour Commission did say that you could be punished for what you're doing. They could decide to not pay you for the period that you're striking. You could also be fired from the jobs that you have because somebody has employed you. Did you get that message?
If actually I knew this will come up in the discussion, I would have shown you text messages on our various platforms. As a PRO, I monitor all regional platforms. I monitor all chapter platforms. And I can show you if that is the way for us to go. We are ready for it. I think it's not a problem at all. Because if the regions can defy the orders of the national executive officers, after going to the ministry and they saying that they will resolve the matter in 3 weeks, because of the urgency, 3 weeks, you have precedents from 2016 sitting at the Labour Commission, no resolution. Everybody is playing the ostrich. Then now it comes up again, you say 3 weeks, because you can't call somebody to order, ask the person to rescind a decision which is causing a problem. Because it's about medical doctors, because it's about superiors, they are in charge of the health service. And now we think that is the easier way out. Your pay, your salary. No problem. Already they want to get private sector people to come and run. Let them go to Walawale and the Salaga area and get the private facilities to run. If it's about salaries, when we get to that bridge, I believe we are going to cross it. If it's going to take us moving out and giving the space, giving the structure, giving the organogram, the personnel, the practice of lab medicine to the people that the laws don't recognize now. Go and check at 857 part 2. The Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons are now asking for law review for these people to be able to practice. Why can't we wait for that? Because they are superpowers, they can impose. When the criminal out there is being arrested because they are flouting the law, these people can rather be pushed on people to cause a strike and let Ghanaians suffer. We are ready for that. And it's easier for everybody to call on the lab scientists, oh, keep cool. Come and let's sit and talk. How did the talking at the Labour Commission since 2016, how did it end? Did we all not go to sleep upon reminders and reminders till this thing came up again?
So do I get the sense that you and your colleagues don't care if you're fired, if you lose your jobs, if you're not paid for the period that you've been sitting and not working?
If that is the way they want to solve the problem, I think I can sense that members are ready for that.
But you know, you're not.
Employment, I believe strongly people were having however they survived.
But you're not working for them. You're working.
If they think that is the way to solve the problem and let Ghanaians suffer, I think when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
Mr. Game, how do you take the whole issue of the punishment coming into the conversation at this point when there's already an issue?
Well, you know, inclusion is not a figure of speech. Getting people together, you know, around a table and talking about a matter is very important. If they can invite them, they are human beings. They have a lot of respect for their clients. That is the customers who come to them. I believe they empathize with them. So clearly, I want to plead with whoever issued that statement and whoever will say anything going forward should know that lives are at stake. We don't need to have an inflammatory comments either from them or from anyone. I believe the president listens to your station. He knows what is good for the nation. He should take steps and get people who need to talk about this issue to talk. It does appear as if gradually some of them are losing confidence in some of the bodies that may talk. But I want to plead with them also. The Labour Commission is an unbiased body. If anyone just made a statement, it's fine. But the commission itself can invite them and they should respect it. And I believe that in the next, they don't need to wait till next week Wednesday. They can always invite them. Could be today, could be even tomorrow, because Saturday is also a day. Sunday is also another day. Somebody should invite them and let them sit down and talk. They are human beings, they will listen. They may not even take away the two people in Confanoche immediately, but once they know that people respect them and they want to attend to the issue, they will decide the way forward. I believe strongly they can do that. So I want to join you and plead with them that they should consider the rural people, those of us in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, maybe the big cities, maybe can afford additional 10 cities to go to a private sector to go and handle our blood issues. But the rural people who we don't know are equally important. So I want to plead with them. They should consider them. And once they are invited, they should respond and they should see the way forward. But this is a structural problem. It can be handled. I don't see this to be a big issue at all.
Comments from you. I want to go to my colleague, Anas Sabit, who is in Techman, just for another report. Yesterday, Anas, you reported for us. You talked about a facility that caters for women and children and the lab not operating and the impact it was having. Where are you today and what's the situation?
We are at the same facility. It is the largest government or health facility in the municipality, which is Techman. And this is the regional capital. So a lot of women and children rush to this particular hospital when they are in seek of medical attention. Their offices remain closed. Yesterday, I indicated that members of the association, the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, were in a meeting at the regional level together with the regional health directorates. After several hours of that meeting, it turned out that they are continuing with their strike. They told me their needs were not met by the regional health directorate. And so until that is done, they are continuing with the strike action in solidarity with their colleagues at the Confanoche Teaching Hospital. I got here quite early. I met some few patients, but the offices, like I said earlier, remain closed with no one inside to attend to patients who need lab tests this morning.
So do you see patients around?
Yes, there are patients around. Apart from the medical, the laboratory units, the other departments of the hospital is operating. So you check at the OPD side where the vitals of these patients is being checked. We have patients there seated and they are being attended to. I want to take you in there. But when you get to the door of the office of the medical laboratory, you realize that the office is closed. So this is the OPD area, vitals of patients being checked. You could see patients in, attempt to get health assistance. But I'm heading towards the office of the lab, where I know there's this red band that has been here since Tuesday, with this inscription written on it, if you could see from that end. And the door is closed. No one is here to respond to our questions. We know they are continuing their strike, like the original chairman told me yesterday. They are unable to, iron their differences with the regional Ghana Health Service at the regional level. So they are continuing their strike, and this place remains closed. Yes, I have a patient here who is even asking me if they are not working today. She's not aware, and of course, this is the situation we are facing here at the Abefi Women and Children Hospital.
Yeah, but Anas, are there options for them to use private laboratories?
Yes, that is what they have been relying on from yesterday. From the consulting room, if you have any lab test to do, you have to walk out there to the private labs outside. And I don't see any closer to this particular facility. They have to go, miles away from this place to do that. Some of them go and they don't return at all because of the distance. And some of them also, yesterday, they told me the cost involved at the private, laboratories, some bearable, they cannot afford it. And so for these patients who are here, it is a huge blow to them, what is happening. They are calling on authorities to come to their aid as early as possible.
Anas, thank you very much. Anas reporting from Techiman. Issue really is same as yesterday. Dr. Jesse, just before we wrap up, you don't have all your members listening to the leadership of the association. So I'm wondering how they will all get to listen to you, because if you look at the impacts in other areas, it's not the same as the big cities as we've talked about. But we want the members to listen to the top. If they are not listening to the top, how can you get information down to them?
Yeah, so the situation is that simple. Yesterday, we submitted a proposal to the ministry. We think that the 3 weeks doesn't express the urgency with which they want to resolve the matter. We think that we can do it earlier than. We think that we have enough information from the past to guide us. We think that the ministry and the minister for that matter, if even the president, has the power to correct whatever is erupting from Kwamfanoche and causing this mess. It's a matter of being bold, speaking to the people at the helm of affairs in Kwamfanoche. Because these people, as I said, were in the internal medicine. They can go there. Let's have the matter at the Labour Committee resolved. A position arrived, and people can go. It's a structural matter, as Mr. Austin said.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, in the public eye, they want to make it like somebody is chasing people from the lab. No. Cleaners come to the lab, nurses come to the lab. Doctors all the years have been coming to discuss in the lab.
Yeah, Dr. Jesse, so what do your members want to hear? What do they want to hear before they go back?
People have been reassigned. Simple. Because it was a matter in Kwamfanoche. Have we asked why it's escalated to the various regions and chapters? Because they see an agenda which has been put down in pen, black and white, being initiated in Kwamfanoche. And you think that they will sit at the district level and wait for that to happen? This agenda, if allowed to go in that structure, will mean that me, as a level of consultant, I can't even operate my private lab because I will leave a lab physician to come and validate my results. Is that what we want? That is the structure. It's not about coming to lab space. Lab space, nobody cares who comes there. But if you are coming there, come and operate your trade, your profession. You can't come and lord your profession over mine. So that cannot happen. We won't allow it. So it's not about lab space. That is what they are putting out there. And Prof. Akosa had equally made say, it's never about lab space. So we don't own the space. How can we control it? But the practice of the trade, the profession, just as GMDC is responsible for medical doctors, Allied Health Professional Council responsible for allied health professionals, for that matter herein, the med lab scientists, let it remain as such. At the ministry, we have structures all the way for the allied health that we can have the directors over there. And you are saying that the medical doctors should be directors of allied health practitioners. Is that what we want as a country? And that is what has been initiated in Kovanoche. It's a structural problem, not space, not working together, not relationship. They can't lord over us. That was taken as best as simple, and as that.
Okay, Mr. Game, finally, I worry that the members on the ground are not necessarily listening to the leadership. And if that really is the case, then we might have a big problem, because they have an objective, which is they want to hear that the two persons have been withdrawn before they can go back to work. So even if leadership agrees that we're going to sit with the National Labour Commission and other stakeholders, their following may not necessarily follow.
Yeah, they fear for their future. That's the reason. And that's exactly what I was trying to tell you. Look, we are consultants to the nurses. These 82,000 plus nurses, we are their consultants. And I can tell you, when they decided to go on strike, we had sleepless nights. We made sure that a meeting was called. I spoke to those who matter and made sure that we got them to agree and for us to have this matter resolved. When it was becoming rough, I made sure that we signed a joint letter, went to Labour Commission, and have this matter addressed. Somebody should sit up. Somebody should work. Somebody should have a sleepless night. We don't just accept positions for the sake of it. It's urgent. It's urgent. This is life and death matter. And it's a structural problem. It can be handled as quickly as possible, regardless of the fact that they are not listening to their leadership. They may not want people to just go to a meeting and come and tell them stories. There is always a way, if you use language appropriately, people will respond positively to it. I think that is about leadership. That is it.
Well, Mr. Game, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for the thoughts that you share with us. Dr. Jesse, just stay with me. I want to go to Ohimin Teria. He's reporting from the Menchia Hospital. He will also be speaking to the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Lab Scientists, Eric Kofi Edu. Ohime, good morning. What's the situation? Hello, Ohime, can you hear me?
Mama V, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Paint the picture for us, Ohime. What is the difference between yesterday and today?
Mama V, I must say that nothing has changed as far as the Ghana Medical Association of Laboratory Scientists strike is concerned. Most of the patients who need laboratory services are not getting them from Ashanti region.
And the situation is far worse than what it used to be. 3 days ago, it was an action being embarked upon by the scientists at Kovanoche Teaching Hospital. But what we are seeing now is that the action has been escalated, and almost Ghana Health Service run facility with medical laboratories have joined this action. And then we are also told those from CHAG have also come on board. So what it means is that patients in the region who need laboratory services in the Ashanti region are not getting them. What they need to do now is to resort to private facilities where they can get these services. So I have been trying to speak to the leadership of the association in the Ashanti region, and what they tell me is that they are happy so far with how the strike action has gone. So I have the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the association, Eric Kofi Edu, with me to throw more light on this action and what they have found so far. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as far as your association is concerned, are you happy with the kind of respect, the kind of, the due attention that your members have given to this action?
Yes, I must say I'm very happy about how our members have actually been very cooperative. The issue is one that really hurts everybody. And so I believe that once we call for members to adhere to directives, members also complied. it is very sad and it's very disheartening for the issue to escalate up to this level.
Let me find out from you. You are the regional chairman. How come you couldn't resolve the issue at Komfanoche for it to be escalated to the regional and now it has become a national issue?
I must say that we did everything in our own way to actually try to resolve the issue. I remember going to see the Komfanoche CEO myself and then the president of our association. And we spoke with him and we said that this issue is an issue that can be handled very easily and not to be escalated up to this level. But the excuse the board and the management, the CEO and the management gave us was that there's no board in place to really look into this issue. But then what we said was that when you are appointing these two lab physicians, you didn't consult the board, but to appoint them. So if it has come for you to recall them back, why are you waiting to speak to the board? And so we thought that this could have been handled easily. Because when we said, let us come to the table and resolve this issue, what we were expecting the Labour Commission to do, or what we were expecting the Minister of Health to do, was to just speak to the CEO and said, oh, you appointed these people into the labs. Just call them back and let's have a level playing field so that we can sit down and resolve the issue.
So this is the Menchia Government Hospital. Yes. Help us understand how are you, treating your patients who need laboratory service here?
I mean, it's unfortunate. Once we've called for the strike, there's nothing that we can do. It's very disheartening to see patients go up and down and then asking for lab tests to be done. But there's nothing that we can do. Now the private are the ones that are helping out. But I'm telling you that in no time, if the issue is not resolved, I bet to say that the private would also join, because we have our members who are also working in the private labs. And so if the issue is not resolved as early as we expected, the private would also join.
And is this something that you are pleased with, to hear that the private laboratories will join your action, so you deprive your patients of, laboratory service?
We've always not want this to happen. I mean, I live in Kumasi, my mother is in Accra. My sister is in Takoradi. And so even as I'm speaking with you now, I don't even know if my mother needs a lab service, or I don't even know if my sister in Takoradi needs those services. And so it is not something that we pray for it to happen. It is not something that we cherish it happening. We are not excited. We are not happy, especially these days where there's COVID and the president of the land is also doing everything possible to get even vaccines to vaccinate his countrymen and women. And so we wish this issue is just resolved once and for all. It is an issue that can be handled very easily. And then I keep saying that the same issue happened at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. The same happened at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Why didn't we take a cue from all those things and then realize that this issue is an issue that needs to be tackled once and for all? As Ghanaians, why should we sit down for this thing to escalate, for patients to suffer?
Yes, you are Ghanaian, so probably you could have done something to save the situation. Can't you ask your members to go back to post once the National Labour Commission, for instance, has given the assurance that the issue will be resolved as quick as possible?
And I tell you that we will just call our members to go back to post today and now. If the Minister of Health just pick a phone and call the CEO of Komfanoche and say that, recall the two lab physicians that you posted to at the lab. Once they are recalled back and then posted to any of the department, we will call our members today to report to work. That is all that we want. That is all that we are asking. That before we go to the table, let us have a level playing field so that we can go and talk. But you don't ask us to come for negotiations and then give an advantage to one party, because the issue at hand is about the LPs. So just recall them and then let's have a level playing field and then we'll talk. That's all that we're asking for. So if they recall them today, we'll call our members to come to work.
So you want the laboratory physicians to be withdraw from the labs, so you go to the negotiation table. Help me understand how you are dealing with the situation, for instance, at the Menchia Government Hospital here. Yesterday, when we came around, your offices were locked, meaning that your clients or your patients have no access to you at all. Have you noticed how these patients struggle before they are able to get laboratory services outside the premises of the facilities where you work?
Yes, I mean, it is true that our labs are even much cheaper than when you go to the private labs. And so we know the discomfort that the patients go through. And me, as a regional chairman of the association, I have not stayed there. I've gone around the hospitals. I've been to Centreso Hospital. I've been to Kumasi South Hospital. I've been to Tafo Hospital, monitoring the situation. And I tell you, it is the same everywhere. Lab scientists are so peeved with this situation. We are peeved because we felt that this issue should have been solved long ago and not wait for it to happen again. And so we share in the plight of the patient, how discomforted they are because they will now be going to private labs and then pay huge sums of money. But there's nothing that we can do about it. And that is why we are calling on the government to also help us resolve this issue. Let us leave the superpower out of this. Because when the IET committee sat on this issue, they brought their recommendations and it was clear. Let me also quickly use this opportunity also to clarify what Smith, who is the head of your health desk, also spoke about last. Smith. Yes, Will Smith. In his report, he said that the IET committee recommended that the live physicians are the one who are supposed to. No, it is not the IET committee who recommended that, but rather it was a Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons who recommended that those phrases or those sentences be inserted into the lab policy that needed to be launched. All right.
So Mr. Edu is the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Laboratory Scientists Association here. But Mama B, with me here is a patient who is currently at the Menchia Government Hospital in need of laboratory service here. Let's find out from her what she's been going through and what she makes of this whole exercise. Oyema to say?
I don't know, Papa.
Yo, Mami Misa say, Ediana Krata Benekuta we.
I shall make the colony by hospital, no, Mr. Member and Moja. And I'm a deba home, so me TV in this one, and I'm there.
My only so cacani and two. What did about hospital almost a day?
Almost me fan of call out. Tell me by the nurse and then me by her say, member TV no one, sana.
So, Mama V, what she's telling me is the fact that she brought this gentleman here to the hospital, and here she's been asked to go to the laboratory to test his blood. But the unfortunate thing is that the labs are closed, so there's no, it's clear-cut way for her now. And two free idea now, obey there now. Yeah, sure, obey if you say lab before no air strike.
Yes, Yamina Mesha say, Obeba Mampire. No, Matimasha me ban sunny yale. Oh, yes, so dim.
20 years old and be free, how baby, and as obey.
The charm and the never go by me for buying.
What do you feel about?
Me Frasafo.
All right, so she has come all the way from Masafo in search of medical care for this boy. But as it stands now, the laboratory scientists are on strike. The only option is that she has the faith in God with the hope that God will sort of answer her and then the small boy here. And she tells me probably she may have to go outside the hospital and seek services somewhere. And so this is not the only person affected here at the Menchia Government Hospital. I must say a lot of the patients who were just behind us, some of us we have spoke to earlier, indicated that they've gone through the same issue and then they are waiting for a few minutes before they walk out of the premises of the hospital here. So that's the situation from the Menchia Government Hospital in the Ashanti region.
Well, thank you very much, Ohime. It's not pleasant at all how things are unfolding with patients simply having no idea where they can even get the same services offered to them. Ohime Terry reporting live from the Menchia Hospital in Kumasi. This whole issue sounded very simple at the very beginning, with two persons appointed at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. And these lab scientists want them removed. It's now escalated. We're talking a nationwide action with great impacts. And the situation is even sad in places where there's no opportunity for private laboratory services. So it's day 2 of this action. We will keep updating you and be telling you when there is new development on this matter. Stay with us. Up next, we're talking personal branding. Questioning, does appearance matter? What's your answer to that? Stay with us.
Welcome back on the AM show. Let's talk personal branding now. Of course, some give pride of place to it, but the question is, does appearance matter? Does how you dress for an event matter? And should we really judge people based on how they appear, how they are dressed? Of course, we'd love to hear from you on this discussion. We all go for those crucial interviews. We all go to the bank. We all do all of those things. But sometimes we're judged based on how we appear. Question is, should that be the case? How should we address this? We'd love to hear from you. The number to call 0302 211 961 extension 2. Audience interaction, of course, we'd love to hear from you. So do call that number 0302 211 691 extension 2. 0302 211 691 extension 2. You can reach out to us on that number. So here's what I'm going to do to set the tone for this conversation. 2 stories, actually, and they are all real. The first one actually happened yesterday, and I was speaking with my producer. I was actually out and about with Echo, my producer, and we interacted with this mechanic for a different reason. But he shared with us a story of how he had gone to this bank, I'll not mention the name of the bank, to cash out money. He was dressed like, an ordinary mechanic would be in his overalls and everything. He was going to cash out 5,000 cedis. The next thing he heard the cashier, whispering to another colleague was, "Oh, look at him. Do you think he could be the one?" And the next thing was, "Should I pay the money to him?" Eventually, they paid him the money. The next day, he came to them again, this time dressed more plushly. He wanted 8,000 cedis. No questions were asked, and he gave them the blasting of a lifetime. Blasting in quote, of course. So the question is, why do we assess people based on how they are dressed? We tend to do that a lot. I'll share with you the second story, but before that, let's take Dorcas, who joins us from Obuasi. Dorcas, good morning. Hello, Dorcas. We appear to have lost Dorcas. Dorcas, if you're listening to me, do call in again, 0302 211 691 extension 2. We'd love to hear from you. Before I introduce the guest we're having, I'll also share this personal encounter with you. Many years ago during my undergraduate studies, I wanted to join the editorial board of a magazine that was going to be published. I applied and everything. When I went for the interview, I felt, well, it's a church thing and all of that. I went in my African print, sandals and everything. Guess what? Some people were complaining why I wasn't in a suit and everything. And I thought to myself, wait, I'm here to be on an editorial board and you want me to be in a suit and all of that? Eventually, I didn't get picked. Later, they heard about my writing prowess, and that was how I was brought into the committee. Why do we do that? Why do we judge based on that? We have Max in Hohoi. Max, thank you for joining the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. What is your take on this? Should we be assessing people based on appearance?
Definitely not. We shouldn't be assessing people based on appearance. But it's normal human nature, and because of that, we do all the time.
Do you do it?
Personally, I don't. I'm a medic. And I have a personal experience in something like this. I saw a client one time whilst I was still working at Tema, and because of the way I was dressed, after I did everything for the client resorted, so please, when am I seeing the doctor?
I see.
I noticed that it was mainly because of the way I looked at the person at that particular moment in time. Wow. And since that time, I made a point that I really look at the position I'm playing at a particular point in time.
Wait, so you're a medical doctor?
Yes.
And the person did not think you were a medical doctor because of how you were dressed?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing, Max. Interesting. We have Haruna from Asante Achem North. Good morning, Haruna.
Yeah, good morning.
Great. Please. What is your take?
Frankly speaking, branding, it really matters when it comes to branding, in a sense that the moment you approach someone, the first thing the person look at is your top and down. After that, whatever word now comes from you would depend on the appearance the person sees you.
Okay.
That will not tell the kind of response will be given to you. So, frankly speaking, branding really matters when it comes to human relationship and then any other field that you can think of.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll be moving on shortly. Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. Anything that might not be part of branding?
Go ahead.
All right.
Just make it a bit brief. That's all.
Okay. But frankly speaking, the country nowadays is facing a lot of problems. We all the youth in this country, we have to bring our attention to it and see how we can solve this, canker amicably. If not that, you can imagine when our children, let's say our grandchildren, how they are going to face. If our parents were to, maltreat this country like this, how will we get even water to drink today? So it means that we also have the duty of preserving this country for our generation to come.
Okay.
Our next generation to come. So please, let's all come together and see what we can do. People have been cursing this and Chene Jonas or who was the name in that
all right.
USA.
So point well made there. We're all involved, and I like the nationalistic feel you brought to that end. But let's stay focused. It's okay if you digress a bit, but let's stay focused on the topic. We're talking about appearance and whether it really matters. Should we make so much out of it? We have Ben in Nungwa, but before we take Ben from Nungwa, let me just mention that right after this, we're going to be interacting with Yvonne Owi McCarthy, who is a customer service consultant and advocate. She's president of the Institute of Customer Service Professionals and board chair of the West African Association of Customer Service Professionals. We'll be getting more insight into this whole bit about customer service, because that is one aspect of it, and branding. But before that, let's quickly look at Ben from Nungwa. Ben, good morning. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Oh, I like that voice. Good. Ben, what is your take? Does appearance matter? Should we pay so much attention to it?
Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead, Ben.
I think, it really matters. Because your appearance counts. Do you think, let's say, the United States president appearing in T-shirt and a knicker, do you think we're gonna give them, or we're gonna give him the due respect, or can anybody just go before the king presence with just any dress? So when you dress properly, you're gonna get the due and the necessary attention that you want. So attention really matters.
Okay. All right. Point well made. Do we have James from Axim? We don't have James from Axim. Let me quickly move on to Yvonne Owi McCarthy, customer service and brands expert. And intermittently, we'll be taking some of your calls to find out what you think. Now, don't make a mistake. Don't you think that we're saying it doesn't matter, but how much should it matter? I mean, I've heard of in-laws and all of that who have had, their sons, daughters-in-law to be, who have come to them and basically they assessed them, scanned them, and maybe the dressing was not what they expected, and that was it. They wrote them off. So to what extent should appearance matter? That's the whole point. To what extent? It doesn't mean just go out there and camp and all of that. But to what extent, what premium should we place on this? Right. Wow. Okay, so we'll do these two before we go to Yvonne. Matilda in Cape Coast, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Refreshing to hear from you. What do you think? How much importance should we place on appearance?
Yeah, please, I want to speak in Fancy.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. More for the even if for bank, even in churches. If you are what share, but table, what share, suit, I share, what your color is back, and so even one more baby come for that now. Into the mouth, no, for good, and it's very bad. It's the promotion of my address. The mouth, if for churches, if for bank, baby, the more honor. What should no one do with my man, may I say?
Yes, yeah, no, I say. That's Matilda in Cape Coast, and she was basically saying, especially when you go to the banks, you see this, they're looking at the belt, the buckle you're wearing, the suit you're wearing, and all of that. And based on that, they assess you and treat you a certain way. And that is not supposed to be. That's basically her point. Amo is in Mamobi. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother. Please, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Hope you are too.
I'm doing well too. You see, this morning, the moment I turned on my television, you were just hosting this program, and I'm very, very happy. Great. You see, it depends. That's why you shouldn't generalize it. It depends. If JoyNews advertises a newscaster right now, and I just dress like a charcoal seller, you see, you wouldn't appreciate that. So it's a fact. You have to usually generalize that dressing doesn't count. But there was a time I bought a taxi and I was in suit. There was there was an old man sitting in front of where the driver, you see, in front of the car. The moment he saw me in suit, the man just stood from the place and said, "Oh yes, sir, please come and sit." I said, "Oh sir, please, I'm just an ordinary teacher. You see, you can't give me what do you call it? Your age. You see, I have to respect you." So, what I'm saying is that Ghana here, the moment they see you as a rich person and you doesn't dress an expensive dress, that is when they will say, "Hey, rich man, or dress ordinary." But if you are an ordinary person and you dress ordinary, you put on an ordinary dressing, that is when people will tag you to be something. So you shouldn't generalize that dressing doesn't count. In fact, it counts. It should be, if you are going for an official interview or something, you have to, dress well, you have to appear well. So that is my little...
Thank you so much, Amo, for sharing. We're very grateful. We'll wrap up for this belt with Cuthbert in Kumasi. Cuthbert, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm well. I hope you are too.
Dressing matters, like appearance matters a lot. Okay, it matters a lot. But we the officers like this, if you dress shabbily to work, your superior will punish you for dressing shabbily. You have to dress well so that you gain respect from your colleagues. Then be a set to some people who don't dress well, so that when they see, they respect you.
Okay.
Give you the maximum respect. So whatever you do that day, because you see that you will feel happy in you. They don't harass you. If you are late and it's dressed well, that if you explain it more, your boss will understand. By dressing shabbily, when you come, you are late, you'll be punished. So please, you should all dress well. Appearance is very well, and it's very crucial in our life. Thank you.
Thank you, Cuthbert from Kumasi. Thank you all who have called into the program. Now let's get the viewpoint of an expert in this field, a customer service and brands expert. Yvonne McCarthy joins the conversation. Good morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Benjamin.
It's a pleasure hearing your voice and having you join the conversation. And our apologies for keeping you on for so long. But I'm sure, having listened to the different perspectives from the people who have called, and maybe the initial story about the mechanic that I shared with you, how much of a premium do you feel we should be placing on appearance? Do we have Yvonne?
Thank you so much, Benjamin, and good morning to all our viewers. I think, yes, hello, Benjamin?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Great, thank you. So I think it depends on where you're standing. One of your callers actually did mention that it's important. Now, there are two things.
Okay, so we're facing some technical hitches, some challenges in there with Yvonne Owi McCarthy, who is actually a brands and, customer service expert. She is known in this field, not only in Ghana, across the continent, and she is one of those phenomenal women blazing the trail when it comes to customer service and branding, especially here in West Africa. We're trying to get her back via Zoom, and if not, maybe via the phone lines, as we interact with her on just how much of a premium, just how much importance we should put on dressing, appearance, and all of that. It's not to say you should appear anyhow, anywhere. Look at me, I'm not just appearing anyhow. Even on a Friday when I've dressed down, I'm looking a bit, you get it. It must be smart casual, if you like. But the point is, like I shared with that mechanic's story, we go to certain places and sometimes people are profiling you, so to speak, trying to find out whether they should treat you this way or that, merely because of how you appear. And that's the problem. Yvonne, thank you for staying with us. Do we have Yvonne McCarthy? So we'll get Yvonne McCarthy back, but that's the question we're posing. And maybe after interacting with her, if we still have more time, we'll activate the lines again to hear from you, because it's happening. Look, I've heard stories of people saying that I went to pay a visit, first visit to my in-laws, and I didn't feel it was necessary to be all dressy and all of that. You know what? Because of that, they counseled the woman that I wasn't fit for her. And it's not that I'm poor or anything. It's just that, well, I didn't feel like dressing up too much, so I went simply, and this is what happened. Where do we draw the line? Yvonne McCarthy is back with us. Hello?
Hello.
Great. All right, so we can proceed from here. You were making a point out. Have you go back to the point you were making, because we lost out from the start?
Yes, so Benjamin, as I was saying before, I think one of your listeners actually did say that it matters what you wear. You need to look at this, objectively. So if you are the one going for an interview, then you have that responsibility to have done some research on the panel of the people that are going to interview you, just so that you have an idea as to what to wear. Right. We're not saying that people should judge you or keep you from getting the jobs that you want. However, people are people, and people have the right to form their own opinions about you and build perceptions about who you are. So that's where the branding issue comes in. Okay. In the case of the mechanic, and that's where I would hit on a bit more, it's both a branding issue and a service issue. First off, as a customer service representative or as a cashier or as an employee of an organization that decided to go into contract or business with a customer, you are supposed to serve that customer without being discriminatory, regardless of what they're wearing, their social status, their age, their marital status, even their sexual orientation. And so when a customer walks in and you think in your head, because that's your perception, that they're improperly dressed, and as a result of that, you're beginning to doubt if they are who they claim they are, there are set rules and processes and procedures that you need to follow just to make sure that you're speaking to the right person. Right. But you cannot refuse somebody the right service. You cannot decide not to be respectful or nice to a customer only because you think they're inappropriately dressed. So first off, what that lady should have done if she doubted who this person was is to ask for an ID card, ask a few security questions. Is the person answering these questions properly? You can ask them for some of the transactions that have actually gone on in their account. Get their signature. And that should be what you use to determine if this person really is who they say they are. And not because they're not appropriately dressed. Because the point is that we don't walk around wanting to impress people. During the day, people work. And so they can be in their work attire. You need to be smart and assertive as a customer service representative. Anything could have happened. It could have been an emergency. So he might have been working and then, immediately he needed money and then he walked into the bank. So it's an unfortunate situation in the sense that you can hear people saying all the time that they get judged based on what they're wearing. No one, and I don't remember in any contract that you signed with a bank or with any other institution where it states that if you're inappropriately dressed, we reserve the right to serve you with disrespect or serve you inefficiently or be inaccurate in our service. So that shouldn't even come in. But when it comes to you branding yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an influencer, if you're an expert, then you have to start considering how you're selling yourself. Because remember, it's an image you want people to have in their head. It's a perception, it's an idea you want to sow into the heads of people. And so when it comes to that, you really have to make sure that you're understanding your personal brand, how you make people feel, what you want people to know you for, and consistently strive to make sure that that's exactly what people are thinking about you.
Okay, so some very important points you've made. Before I go to the bit about whether you are a social influencer or whatever, maybe even a television presenter, and how you should, keep yourself by way of a brand. This gentleman, the mechanic I spoke to you about, we personally interacted with him, and he's contemplating withdrawing his funds from that specific bank. So it goes back to the point you were making about service. And if you don't deliver the service, that person can withdraw his or her funds from your facility, and your facility will be the worse off because of your failure to be professional. But speaking of branding once more, so I've shared issues to do with people who have had problems with their in-laws because they felt, oh, I'm going to visit my in-law, I'm dressing properly, but it doesn't mean I should be over the top. Only for them to go there and realize, oh, I should have been over the top. Where do we strike the balance? And should we just write some people off as being too fastidious, too much when it comes to their expectations of how we should appear? I mean, where do we strike the balance, generally?
Benjamin, I'm laughing at this because I've had a lot of people, tell stories about, I'm going to meet my in-law, what do you think I should do? Look, the truth is that if you're going to meet an in-law who thinks that the way you dress is what they should judge you on, then there's a problem. That being said, you can't also just walk into a space where you're not known, where your skills are not known, your experience is not known, your attitude, your behavior, your perceptions is known to none of these people, and then you dress anyhow. The way you dress is just the way you will be addressed. And so if you're going to meet your in-laws and you want to seem like a responsible person, you have to dress responsibly. If you want them to think that you're a happy-go-lucky person and you don't care about the way people perceive you, then yes, you can by all means also dress anyhow, because that's just how they're going to perceive you. However, I think there's a big problem with us. I'm not just going to say Ghanaians. I think in most parts of Africa, we judge people too quickly. And it comes back to the mindset and the perceptions that we have as a people. We're so quick with what we see with the eye, and we forget the substance, the skill this person could have, the attitude that they have. Because there are a lot of people who are well-dressed, sitting in expensive cars, sitting in beautiful offices, who have no substance, absolutely nothing. They can't even be nice. The behavior stinks, the character is bad, their perceptions about life is terrible. But they are dressed well. So we need to start checking our mindset individually. How do you perceive people? Are you the type of person that thinks that if somebody is not in the Range Rover, it means they amount to nothing? Or are you the type of person who says, you know what, when I meet people, I want to get to know them so I can, make a fair judgment about their character? So what's more important to you as an in-law? Is it or is it the look? And I just, on the funny side, if you're going into a home where your looks are more important, you should run away.
If you're going into a home where your looks are more important, you should run away. But on the other end, something else I'll take away, how you dress will determine how you will be addressed. So you have to strike the balance. To wrap up, I'd like you to address this. So something else we see, a lot of people who are the so-called celebrities or stars, I don't believe in all of that, but all of these people in this space, whether it's football, whether it's media, there are some expectations, right? If you find yourself in any of these categories, how should you carry yourself? We see some people go over the top, others too are called, well, a bit unrefined because they don't dress so well. How do you strike the balance? What do you do if you find yourself in that category?
I think you need to ask yourself some vital questions, and it's when someone mentions your name, when someone talks about your business or your brand, what do you want them to be saying? So if, for example, my name is Yvonne McCarthy and I have said that I want to be Africa's customer service thought leader, that is what I want to start working towards. Now, in order for you to see me as Africa's customer service thought leader, I don't have to be dressing excessively. It's got nothing to do with the content I want to put out there. It has a lot to do with my knowledge and my expertise and the type of clientele that I have. And so for the star or the celebrity, theirs is more of what you see and how they make you feel and how you associate with them.
Okay.
And so their business is actually their look. Their business is actually what they flaunt. Their business is what they allow you to buy into. So I just want to say this. You see a lot of people, you know, in flashy cars, dressing excessively, doesn't necessarily mean that that's who they are in real life. That's why it's called branding. You're creating an ideal in someone's head about who you are, what your essence is. But in actual fact, in your home, you might not even be wearing any of those things. So for them, they have a particular goal, and that's their goal. If I want to be one of the top chefs in the world, certainly dressing is not what's going to get me there.
Right.
It means I have to churn out more videos of me cooking. I have to take pictures of me in restaurants. I have to be talking about some of the top chefs in the world. That's where I want to go. So it depends on the path you want to take.
Right.
But when it comes to celebrities and influencers, we gravitate towards what we see. So if they're dressed properly, a footballer has a flashy car, what it makes you think is that this person is successful because they've played football, they've made so much money, they're able to buy this car. But if you see a footballer, you know, maybe on foot in some areas, a guy way power, like it looks like things are not going well. So again, back to branding, it depends on what you want people to see. But we have to put this in our head. Be careful out there, especially the youth. People are creating what they want you to see. They are creating a world that sometimes doesn't even exist. So they brand themselves so well, you're forced to believe that's what it is. But half of the time,
so we must look out for the reality and not what is out there. But thank you so much for sharing all the insight with us. Yvonne Ohui McCarthy, we're very grateful for your time. She's a brands and, well, customer service expert. But from branding, we talk, well, clashes when it comes to education. Positive clashes, of course, in the National Science and Math Quiz. The countdown is on to crown Science and Math Quiz champions for the Volta and OT regions as 18 schools battle for the trophy later today. And guess who's on the beat? Maxwell Agbagba, who joins us with updates. Maxwell, it's over to you now. Tell us the latest when it comes to the Volta and the, well, the OT regions. What exactly has been happening?
Well, Benjamin, the schools have started arriving. I've seen Keta School here. I've seen other schools also. Bosnia High School also just arrived here on the ground. We're waiting for 16 others. The contest itself will be starting shortly. Keta, they have been the pride of the Volta region. In fact, last year in the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz, they managed to get to the semi-finals where we had Adesadel College and then Achimota School. Adesadel College managed to qualify to the finals and then they were kicked out at the semi-final level. But they have been consistent when it comes to the National Science and Maths Quiz. Consistent to the extent that even their opponents and rivals in the Volta region would acknowledge that fact. I have a teacher from Ketasco here with me, and I see how many students? About 10 of them. 12 students. And in fact, I'm told that they are not aware, the students are not aware, those who will be representing the school. So all of them have come adequately prepared. Yes. Why so?
We did that so that at least none of them will be complacent and that it will boost them. All of them will wish to be the final three, to be in the final three. And the final three, we get also the two who will be on stage all the time. Wow. And this is a strategy we've been adopting for years.
So, out of all these 12 students, they do not know who is going to represent.
Exactly.
Who's going to be on stage.
Yes. But some, let me be sincere, some have proven to be very much worthy to the task. And so they are 4. But out of these 4, we will pick 2. And
is that a secret for your consistency at the NSMQ?
Exactly so.
Wow. Let me get closer to them. You're warming up right now. Go ahead, don't worry. You can sing. Okay. So, let me find out. What should we expect this morning?
We didn't expect nothing than the championship. That we are going to win this contest today, and any other contest that will be held on. Since our bird, which is the eagle, is around, we'll go higher than those marks.
Jolali.
Now or never.
Jolali. Now or never. Okay, so that's it. The guys are really ready for this contest. This is Abo Secondary School, right? Okay, Abo, I'm not feeling the energy. You've seen the guys from Qatar School. What are you telling them? They say they are coming for the trophy.
Well, we are just trying to warn them. We are going to give them a very tough contest this morning. This morning it will be a very tough contest.
Okay.
A very, very tough contest. Right? It will not be easy for them. It won't be.
Okay, so that was Maxwell Agbagba, and we now have Manuel Kranting, who will be telling us what else has been happening. He joins us from Kumasi. Manuel, a very good morning to you. If you can hear me, Manuel Kranting, we'd like to get the latest from Kumasi. What has been happening in the Ashanti region on the back of the NSMQ?
Well, Ben, if you are excited about what you saw and heard from the Volta region, new level of competition, that's the ABSA Ashanti Regional Championship. It's featuring 26 schools, the 20 schools that qualified, plus 6 other schools which were seeded from the 2020 edition of the competition. Well, this morning, the first contest is featuring Adventist Senior High School, St. Louis Girls, Kumasi Girls Senior High School, and then KNUST Senior High School. I have 2 of the schools, KNUST and then Kumasi Girls. Well, behind me, I'm flanked all the way by the girls from what they call themselves KG. Ahima? Ahima?
Always faithful.
Ahima?
No crown.
So which one is that one? Which one is this one?
It shows that we are ladies.
Oh, it shows that you are ladies. Yeah. Well, are you going to show your ladiness or what have you on stage this morning?
This morning we are going to show that we are prepared. We came to win. Okay. So as we are in high spirits, we know that this is just a formality. We've already won. You know.
I heard you tell me earlier off air that you had already won. This was just an reenactment of the win. That how did you win? You won with the goals or something?
It's already declared.
Okay. Who declared it?
With the Lord.
Who declared it?
Oh, God even told us. Before we came here, we had a revelation that we have won.
Like the people, like they want to.
Oh, yeah, we try to do our best, and at the end of the day, we are praying to God that we carry the day.
I see you're a woman of very few words, so I'm not going to ask any more questions, but I'll move on to the KNC guys. Finally, let's do Ahima. Ahima.
Always faithful.
Ahima.
No crown.
Well, that's the ladies from KG, Kumasi Girls Senior High School. I'll now move on to the folks from KNUST SHS. Madima. Madima.
True wisdom.
Madima.
Nyansapo.
It's Nyansapo. It's Nyansapo, eh? Yes. So today you're coming to offload Nyansapo on stage?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, we are very sure.
A tiny bird told me that when you were coming, your Nyansapo or whatever fell off the road. So what do we expect from you today?
Today, Mr. Kenneth on stage is the best.
We're not just going to win a very first contest.
We need the trophy, not the contest.
I see. But, you are going to meet St. Louis, a meeting, the girls from KG, a meeting, Adventist Senior School. In fact, they scored the highest point in the qualifiers, 63 points. Or you couldn't make 63 points in the qualifiers. What makes you think that you're going to beat them?
Okay, from our school to St. Louis is just a stone thrown, and for all our contests that we did, they have never conquered us. So we think this contest are going to make them smile, but at the end of the contest, the win lies on our bosom.
The win lies in your bosom?
Yes.
I see. And well, Ben, I'm going to hand over back to you in the studio, but of course the momentum is really building up here in the Ashanti region. Well, we have 26 schools competing in 7 first level qualifiers. After that, we'll have 3 more contests, which are semi-finals, before the finals. We'll be here to bring you all the updates. But as for now,
But the ladies from KG say they've already won. They are just coming to reenact. These guys also say their school is just a stone thrown from Louis, and they are going to cut them to size this morning. We're to be seeing how all of that unfolds today as we begin the Ashanti Regional APSA tournament here in Kumasi. If you can hear me now, back to you in the studio.